Hello, welcome to my channel where we discuss the MCC laws of cricket. In the last episode, we discussed part 1. We took a portion of the dead ball law, law 20, and we will continue with that. There is a little bit left. Here, in that episode, I had mentioned that there are several instances other than the 14 which are listed there, law 1 to 14, instances where the umpire calls dead ball. Actually, there are 18 other occasions, and in my book, which I have mentioned, I have they are listed here. They here all the instances where the laws require other laws which require us to require us to call dead ball, the umpires to call dead ball. Now, I had mentioned to you that I am the author of two books. One of them is The Laws of Cricket Simplified, which is based on the 2022 third edition 2022-2017 code. And here the laws have been given in a simplified manner with illustrations and explanations. And there are notes there, margin notes, margin alerts, and the red that you see are all the 2022 changes in the laws. These laws also have in another section, this book also has in another section a lot of charts where the more of the complicated laws are are given in tables. They are broken up for better understanding, as you can see. There are a lot of charts there, separate sections. There is a lot of value addition in the books, other than the laws. I have tried my best to simplify the language of the laws within limitations, of course. But I have had added a lot of value to the book. If you are interested in buying my book, you can contact me on mrsinghbooks@gmail.com. Now, to go on with our discussion on the laws of on dead ball, law 20 dead ball. Coming to the portion that was left out, we start with law 20.5. Now, law 20.5 tells us when the ball comes into play. That is important for us to know when the ball comes into play. The ball ceases to be dead, or it comes into play when the bowler starts his run up to bowl the ball, or if he has no run up, then he starts his action. That is when the ball comes into play. And naturally, when the ball has come into play, quite naturally, the either batsman is liable to be out. That is why we see that the non-striker, if he is backing up too early, is to be given out, run out. At any time while the ball is in play, a run out can occur. Similarly, now there is another provision which says, law 20.6, dead ball not to be revoked. Once the ball is delivered, no revoking of any decision can bring the ball back into play for that delivery. Now, this is important. This has been introduced in the third edition 2022. Now, let me tell you how this will apply, especially in the era of the third umpire, where you have, as a field umpire, given a batsman out, and the ball then goes on to a further incident. You've given a batsman out, LBW, the ball has gone on to a further incident, and the third umpire overturns your decision. The ball became dead when you gave that decision, and the third umpire has overturned your decision, as we have seen happen very often. When he does that, that will not bring the ball back into play, and whatever has happened after that, that calling of dead ball, just because the call has been revoked, those actions will not count. Those actions will still not count. Now, leaving aside the third umpire, in normal play, we, as you very well know, umpires are allowed to change our decision provided we do it promptly. And once having given a decision and the ball happens to go and somebody is, say for example, I have given a batsman out, LBW, and he is looking, while he is looking at me, and the ball is then picked up by a fielder and thrown, and wicket is broken. Now, I, in my own at my my own discretion and my own wisdom, suddenly realized, yes, maybe that fellow played the ball. And he's not made no sign, nothing. It would be wrong for us to change our decision just because the batter is showing you the bat and all that. You must stick to your convictions. But in your mind, you feel that, all right, I made a mistake and you want to correct it. Now that if you correct it, and now the ball had become dead, just because you revoked your decision does not mean that the ball will come back into play, and that you will then, the square leg umpire will then be authorized to give that run out where the short leg fielder might have picked up that ball. So this is how this particular law applies, and you should be guided accordingly. Please think about this and see that how it is going to apply. Now, dead ball not counting in the over. Dead ball which does not count in the over, when a ball other than one called either no ball or white ball. Of course, one no ball and white ball as it is, they do not count in the over. Which has been delivered is called dead. Any ball, let us leave no ball and the other things aside. Leaving no ball and white ball aside, let us focus on what is the essence of the law. It says that any ball which has been delivered, if it were not properly delivered, it would have been called dead ball in any case, and it wasn't a delivery. If any ball which is delivered, has left the bowler's hand properly and is delivered, considered by the umpire at the bowler's end to be delivered, is called dead, or is to be considered dead other than in 20.7.2. Is it 20.7.2? It other than in 20.7.2. Now 20.7, I will come to 20.7.2. Other than those two provisions, as a general principle, the ball will not count in the over if the striker has not had an opportunity to play the ball. We have seen this principle in Law 17, valid balls. We see this principle being repeated here. A ball has been called dead. If he has had no opportunity to play it, he will get an extra ball. That is how it works. Now, a ball which is will be a valid ball if the striker has an opportunity to play it. Now, we come to the exception to that general principle that the ball he has had an opportunity to play the ball, therefore it will be counted. However, these are the provisions listed where the ball will not be counted even though he had an opportunity to play that ball. Under the dead ball law also, this same principle has been reiterated. Law 20.7.1.2 says that a ball will be a valid ball if the striker has an opportunity to play it, only if the following. It's a no ball. Now, as you know, a no ball, he has an opportunity to play it. The ball will not be treated as a valid ball. White ball, no opportunity to play it, but a white ball, it will not. He didn't have a scoring opportunity. The ball will not be counted. It will not be a valid ball. 20.4.26, striker is distracted by any noise or from outside. That delivery, he has a chance to play it, but the ball will not count. Dead ball will be called and ball will not count. 24.4, player returning without permission, we have already been told as a measure of additional punishment, the ball will not count. The 4 instances we spoke of, unfair instances. 28.2, fielding the ball. 41.4, deliberate attempt to distract the striker. 41.5, deliberate attempt to distract, obstruct or deceive the either batsman. So all these 4 cases, it will not be allowed. Now we saw that in 20.4.2.5, the ball will not count in the over only if both the following conditions are met. There are two particular provisions which serve as exceptions to that general rule. We will discuss them when we come to the actual laws themselves in more detail. But here, in 20.4.25, we have an instance where we've already discussed this. We have an instance where the striker the ball will not count if the striker is not attempting to play the ball The striker, we discussed that in detail, he is not attempting to play the ball. And the umpire is satisfied, has an adequate reason for not being ready. And the umpire is satisfied not being ready, the ball will also not count. Again, an exception to the law which says that had an opportunity to play, even then the ball will not count. Even then the ball will not count. And he did not play it. He made no effort to play it. So it wasn't a scoring opportunity. It was the ball was received by him, but the umpire had to be satisfied. If the umpire were not satisfied, both conditions are not met, it is said. If the umpire is not satisfied, the first is true, the second is not true. Satisfied about the reason, he will count it as a valid ball. He will count it as a valid ball. So we have got a detailed provisions under the head. Whenever a dead ball is called, ball whether to count as one of the over or not is the question. And of course, leaving aside ball and no ball, just to reiterate, since we have a small episode only with us, we can use some time to do it. A ball which has been delivered is called dead or is considered dead will not count in the over if the striker has had an opportunity to play it. That's the cardinal principle, but of course it has an exception. Even if the striker has had an opportunity to play it, a ball will be a valid ball if the striker has an except in the circumstances. A ball will be a valid ball if the striker has an opportunity to play it, except a no ball, white ball, striker distracted, and the four instances of unfair play. These are the exceptions to that principle. That otherwise you have to adhere to it. But we also note here that 20.7.2 is a special provision. Is a special provision where it is said that both conditions have to be fulfilled. One, that he doesn't attempt to play it. If he attempts to play it, the ball will count. That is understood. And the second condition is that he has a valid reason for, authentic reason for letting go of the ball, of backing off. In the umpire's opinion, it was a valid reason. He will not allow count the ball. But if it was not a valid reason, he will count that ball. This is how it means. We heard it. It is a reiteration of what we have already discussed in our previous episode on dead ball. Now this brings us to the end of the dead ball law, and after this we will be going. This has to be studied in detail. After this we will be going to the law 21, the no ball law, where we will be discussing, which is again an important law. And again I want to tell you that I want to tell you about my book Question Bank on the Laws of Cricket, which has over 1,001 questions on different game situations. These are all multi-choice questions. These are available on the internet as an ebook also, and you can contact me directly and I can guide you how it is, and answers are given at the end of every chapter. This is a book, while my first book provides the learning, the second book tests your knowledge and hones your knowledge of the laws. I think you have a look at them. They are useful books. Many umpires have found them useful books. I thought I might use the time to plug my book. And see you again in the next episode on Law 21, No Balls. Goodbye.